What's going on, everybody? Gustav the 13th here with a look at what we actually have as a double banner this time around. We got the Zaku Machinery and the Zaku Machinery EB. I'm actually going to look at the explanation real quick. Where's the name? Bernardo Bat. Bernardo. I shouldn't make fun of that too much, but I'm just like, really? Okay. So we got an ace unit. This thing, by the way, we'll get into this later, but just looking at it, I'm like, what the fuck? But we have another 450. I would say this is very in line with kind of like the Stutzer kind of mentality with the way that it's set up, except this is from Walpurgis. This is supposedly, and I'm gonna look at the explanation, supposedly this is a really amped up like Zaku. Yeah, newly constructed unit is a modernized variant of the Zaku modified through reverse engineering. So that's kind of the situation we got going on here. And this thing actually, the 450 general of this banner, because we have a 450 and then the other one's a support, and it is at 500, which means that that one in particular is actually set up for clans. Technically, you could bring this one into there because they do let you go under cost in clan still, but mileage may vary. I wouldn't really do it, even though it is really good at 450. So, machine gun adds its main gun. I think it's a 4-round burst. No other options for either of these for the Hedgehog or the MG, but that's okay because we got a bunch of other shit going on. So we got the Xeon rocket launcher. We got a Sturmfaust. That's literally just something they ripped off of a fucking Doga. I was like, hey, you can just have one. Just use one. That's fine. Flash grenade and the Spooge. We got a sealant launcher on this bird lime. So, a lot of different options for setting up and opening up for the chop on here. This is pretty good for just really fast pursuit and build up while you're chasing things down with other friends and whatnot. A lot of different things you can do here. That being said, the ready up on both of these kinda not super great. The sealant launcher is actually a little bit faster, and it does do speed down, so keep that in mind as well. This is going to come into play not only for this suit, but also for the support version as well. But let's get into the usual stuff here. These videos are going to be a little bit different, and I say these videos because us talking about this and then also talking about the other suit, we're going to try to put these two together in terms of that in one video, and then the example matches are actually going to be split up into another video back to back on there, just because I don't want the premiere to be super long on either of them. So I'll just have them show up, you know, one after the other, depending on how long this one takes. So getting into the skills and stats first here. So 17k on this for health. Ballistic resistance of 15, beam resistance of 15, melee resistance of 18, range strength of 22, melee strength of 23, movement speed of 130, high speed movement of 200, thruster gauge of 65, and turning speed of 72. Talking about part slots, we got 14, 10, and 8 for close, medium, and long. 2 priority with space compatibility as a 2-star health suit. Going on then to these skills, we have Leg Shock Absorber level 3, Emergency Evasion System level 1, Anti-Blast Stabilizer level 1. I'm really glad that it actually has that. And Flight Control Program level 2, also amazing. High Performance Balancer level 1, Melee Combo Controller level 1, High Spec AMBAC level 2, Force Injector level 2, Anti-Jamming and Anti-Stealth. Anti-Jamming's at level 2, but Anti-Stealth is only at level 1. But still, holy shit. Frontline support system, so it also is at level 2, so you can actually go down 10% faster for the respawn time, and if there's a bunch of you, you're gonna be able to cut that down by a lot. Special right shoulder armor buffer level 3, so the little big chunking on your right armor actually blocks a significant amount. I feel like most Zakus should have this. I would say just put it at 3. Just put it at 3. There's no reason not to. It's not a really big surface area, and it's specifically only on one side. So just fucking do it. If the other ones aren't at that rate, they should be. Let's back out a little bit and get into, not the explanation, goddamn, the enhancement list. So we're talking 100 HP for the first one. The complex expansion comes early. Since we are in 2-star territory here, anti-melee is just +1. And the melee modifier 2+1 for the final one at 1620. For the upgrades, we're talking plus 500 health at 3240 and plus 4 to melee modifier at 4860. Not bad. Pretty versatile kit. A lot of stuns on this thing. And with arrow control and all this other stuff going on, you have a lot of maneuverability. We're going to go into practice with this first, and then we're going to pull back out and handle the ace unit. I think that's how we're just going to do this. So let's jump in here, show it all off, and then we'll move on to our little support buddy right after. If it would actually just hurry up and drop me into the game, please. All right, here we go. So let's try to get into a little bit of stuff here. For the most part, all these little things you've probably seen before. It's really funky that we get to just use a single one of these. I don't know if there's another suit that does that, but 4-round bursts you actually had to do for in order to get this all in there. But you got 40 shots, and holding it down has it come out at a decent rate. You get 2 stuns with 2 more bursts out there that put it over 50. But I mean, you got this. There's something that I also saw, and I want to try to test it. I don't know if it's gonna let me. This bazooka, someone's been testing this in here, and the radius on this is apparently insane. Maybe not that insane, but pretty insane. Like, they were showing off some certain things on, like, I think this Deserted City, and it was going crazy. Combo controller, very typical with the swings, because keep in mind that this axe in particular is just like a highly modified regular Zaku axe. So it's not doing like big long choppies, kind of like if it was a high Zaku or whatever. This actually comes out, I would say, a little bit faster. It might not. That might just be a me thing. Let's see if we can do it here. Maybe like around there. Yeah, so that, I don't know how normal that is for other stuff. Obviously that didn't even hit either of them. But like, even there, with both of them spread out, it still had enough to hit it from there. It hit both of these guys when they were actually together a little bit more. So that bazooka on flat surface has a lot of fucking range on it. That one shot that we biffed right there with the Faust probably would have hit that. Kind of nutty. I guess one other thing to keep in mind, there's not a lot of suits, I would say, at this cost that would really actually have damage control either. So like the accumulation on that's not going to really change too much. There's a lot of things that you can chain into a lot of stuff for extra on the ground damage before going in for your chopper neutral. Or you can just, you know, try to fit in 2 chops, because this thing, it can ready up fast enough as long as you cancel out of whatever else you're already doing in the meantime fast enough. Like so. So, not bad overall. Very forgiving with that splash. Flash grenade in case you want to try to catch someone around a corner, or if you can get the animation to start and then just start backing up with your boost. This one, unlike the support counterpart, does not actually have Vulcans. The other one actually has a Mars side hood. Kind of crazy. You'll see it when we get in there. Going into this though, so you had 2 explosive shots. I don't know why I threw that. That you can actually throw out at any given time. They do a decent amount of damage per little chunk on here as you cycle through your stuff. Obviously the Sternfoss readies up faster than the bazooka, when both of those I think aren't anywhere near as fast as the Birdlime, or the Bermline's maybe about as fast as the Sternfoss. One thing about the Sternfoss, not the Sternfoss, but the Birdlime, is that because it readies up relatively quickly, as long as you kind of have it in your pocket when you're doing like a counter, say the counter doesn't land or whatever and you're just trying to get in there, you can actually run that to group on somebody, give them the speed down, and potentially either get the Sternfoss or something else out to kind of just bury into them. Oh my god, you can see that, right? I got the fucking drift on my controller again. Oh my lord. It hurts my soul. But overall, neat. I forget what the actual counter is on this. I think it's not anything super crazy. Oh, no, don't do that. Yeah, it's just bip. Give him the foot. But not bad. A lot of neat output, very versatile. It can be in a lot of different situations where it can just throw those out really fast for damage and or stun loops. And then pursue with this thing, which actually has a decent amount of output on top of accumulation. So very solid 450. I don't think it'll fully replace a lot of the other stuff, but the anti-stealth and anti-jamming is actually pretty interesting at a cost that has a decent amount of stealth suits running around. So if that's kind of your thing and you just want to know where they are all this fucking time, like you'll have a decent time with this. Even though the anti-stealth isn't super high, it's serviceable, and the anti-jamming having level 2 means that you can try to keep that off, at least for yourself, at a decent rate. But for now, that'll be all for this part. We're gonna move on to the support version now and get things set up over there. For that, I think I got that bag out, like, oh, it's just gonna spit me out, that's fine. But yeah, for the support version, same general setup here. This is normally what we do anyway. Let's get into this. So, this is a weird suit. You're gonna see why as we go through this. Yes, it's LARPing as a Shiki. You'll see that in the skills once you get to that too. But, couple things to note here. For the most part, the kit is very similar. It does not have that short bazooka anymore. It still has the Sturmfaust. The machine gun becomes a secondary, kind of like the Hyzak custom kind of situation. Has the saber still, has the sealant and all that stuff, because like we said, it has a Marasai head. It does have its own head mounted Vulcans. This gun is weird. So its standard shot is a really short burst Gorobi that actually accumulates a decent amount, does good damage, but it does not let you readjust it while it's firing, like, at all. Nowhere near as much as you would hope. The charge shot on this, instead of being piercing, because the Gorobi, the baseline shot is piercing. So you can accumulate on a bunch of people if there's a big clusterfuck and it's low impact against your own team, right? So those are the two cool things about that. Unfortunately, the regular shot is just a charge hit. There's no heavy stagger or any like special effect on it. The output's okay. It's maybe only a little bit more than if you would have just gotten the full stream on somebody, like if they were down or whatever. That being said, let's get into the stats and all that. So for this, a little bit less, we got 15k on the health. Very support-like spread here. At 18 for ballistic, beam is 24, and melee is 8. Oh boy. At a cost that has a lot of really crazy bungus going on for raids. Range strength of 42, so at least your baseline in the 40s. Pretty good for that. Melee strength of 8, you kind of expected. This is support, whatever. It's not really what you're going to be doing. Movement speed of 120, top speed of 190, thruster gauge of 70, and turning speed of 69. Nice. For our part slottage, unfortunately, a little bit more limited here at 8, 12, and 16 for close, medium, and long. This one in particular is actually a 3-star suit. Much like the other one, it is also a compatibility for space and has only one priority. Let's get into the skills here. So we have High Performance Radar 3, High Performance Scope 4, Observational Data Link 1, Precision Shelling, so you actually get a little bit more firing strength at 5% when you're crouched, or if you remain still in space. Scout Parallel System, so you can see your radar while you're in snipe mode. High Performance Aerospace Gimbal, since it is a spacesuit. Anti-Blast Stabilizer level 1, thank goodness. High Spec Ambec level 2. Force Injector level 1, so you do have a little bit more reactability, and you can kind of get your tackles out if you want to do triangle tackles and all that good stuff. Well, actually, no, you can't, because we don't have balancer on this bitch. Oh, no! That's very unfortunate. You cannot. You can redirect yourself and hope for the best, but because of that limited thruster gauge, it's probably not going to go super crazy for you. I kind of wish they would have given a balancer. I know it's not like more geared towards the melee, considering the way that it swings and stuff, but still. If you're going to give it this, give a balancer. Anti-stealth, level 2. Backbinder, special cushioning, level 1. The shoulder armor buffer, for whatever reason, they docked down to 2. I don't really understand that. It should have just stayed 3. And an anti-beam coating. This I don't really feel too crazy about. 500, you do start to get more suits that have beam weaponry as a standard. I don't like that we had to deal with this in a cost range that still has a lot of heavy ballistic, so it's not really resisting a lot of stuff or reducing reactions, especially when there's also a lot of high accumulation and, you know, like I said, just bazookas, Sternfrost, you're dealing with Dogas, things with cables, all kinds of shit at 500. Everything else is gonna hurt you really bad. This made a little bit more sense for the Delta because it was also a transformable suit, which gave it a little bit more leeway when it was trying to move around the battlefield before it got too low on health. But on a slower, regular kind of support, not so much. Especially when the idea is that this is essentially just LARPing as a Shiki. The regular Shiki doesn't even have this skill for many reasons. So why would you put it on this thing? Kind of stupid. But the bigger thing is going to be that its usual support-like defense. It's going to get chunked by pretty much anything that blinks at it with a melee weapon in its hand. It can stop things with its rifle, but it's going to have a hard time tracking if they're just zipping around. So anyway, let's get into this. Enhancements, we have anti-beam for the first one, +1 to range strength for the second, +1 to thrusters. All these are really bad. Just +1 to random bullshit, like who cares. Fucking complex expansion slots at the very end in 1980. We get +5 to anti-beam because, you know, it needs more anti-beam when it has a skill that puts it to 0 when it goes to a certain amount of health. So this is already pretty boneheaded. And then +5 to range at the very end. This is probably going to be the thing you try to seek out just to get a little bit of extra output, because between that and I think there's one, yeah, you can almost get to 50. And obviously you're probably gonna put parts on it anyway, so like from there. But I don't know. Considering the other stuff at this cost, I mean, Loto is really cheeky, it's very fast, it has a lot more stuff to cycle through and accumulation going on with it. You know, you have, what is it, Stark? Proto Stark starts at this cost. Among other things, there's a lot of other options that it has to compete with, but I can, oh wait, I didn't switch, did I? I don't think I did, I just looked at it. I'm gonna have to cut this part out. Oh no. There we go, now it's on. Why did that one go so much faster, by the way? Was it still preloaded or something? What the hell? But okay. I really need this to stop fucking drifting. It's pissing me off. Oh my god, that's so bad. So, Grovion here does accumulate pretty quickly. At first, I thought it was a shot that made contact and then hit multiple times. It was like, oh no, it's just streaming out of the gun. We'll do the charge shot real quick. This is a commit. You can move while it's charging, but it is still a commit stance shot. 37-37, right? 29-88 on a regular shot on this. Not a really big difference. Especially for something that doesn't, like, heavy stagger or anything either. Kind of a similar situation. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So this version of the gun, it fires a little bit slower, as you see. It feels a little bit heavier, like the output. And it actually does its business in 3 rounds, because I think it's a 5-round burst. Yeah, it's a 5-round burst at 40, which to me, I already feel like it doesn't need to happen, but I wouldn't mind this version of the gun also just being on the general version. Also, because this is a piercing gun, the beam's gonna diffract and go in weird directions like all the time. Like be aware of that. Usual stuff for this term as well. We're gonna check this real quick. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. It's like 25 shots. Marasai's Vulcans if it's based directly on that, more or less. Not super crazy. The rate of fire isn't super high either, so you can do it for some pursuit. Or you're probably better off doing the machine gun. Why is this getting so bad? Holy hell. One thing, and we're gonna go over there once we do the rest of the showcase for the piercing. I'll show that off real quick here. 22, 72, 24, 96. So yeah, I mean 5%, not bad. You get 3 bursts back to back if you don't give it any time to breathe before it goes out. It seems like it recovers pretty quickly. I wouldn't do it if I didn't have to. You get 2 bursts in there. If you really had to squeeze it out, do the 3rd one, but just kind of just wait. Because this is a piercing shot though, keep in mind that you can just, you know, run that across this and fuck up a bunch of shit. That being said, as you can see, the Groby itself, as with a lot of suits that have big beams like that, does not do a lot of damage to the base itself, which is a little bit unfortunate. I don't really know if that's just something where they're like, oh, well, we didn't want to give multi-hit suits like this a lot of leeway or something. It seems like something they very consciously did, which is a little rough. But let us see what the regular shot does. Not a whole lot more, which is also a little bit disappointing there. You can contribute, but the thing that's going to do the most right away is going to be the Sturmfaust. Luckily, if you put some loaders or whatever, it probably won't take too long to get on there. A lot of stuff on here is actually ammo based. The only thing that really isn't is the rifle itself. It is the main thing that's just heat based. But I wouldn't really say that this is a big base buster kind of support. This is mostly going to be dealing with other suits running around. It can do a little bit with the Sturmfaust if it really needs to, but that's about it. This one of the two I'm the most on the fence about. This gun is really cool. If you can really time your shots, either by super hard leading and forcing people to like run into it and get clotheslined by it. Keep in mind that if they don't stay in the beam long enough, if they don't hit it from like the start of the shot all the way into the end and go like fully across it or whatever, if it only glances them, there's going to be a good chance that they don't actually get stunned. And you don't have a lot of room to readjust. As you can see there, you barely move. So, gotta be careful. Definitely gotta get those placements right to try to catch people into it. You know, and obviously if you have a situation where there's just like a big brawl in front of you and there's a clusterfuck, just throw that neutral out. Don't even bother charging it. Just throw it out there. Make sure that you're shooting it or moving it at least a little bit. As you can see, the rigidity time is fast. But if you're already moving while you're doing it, or if you just kind of jet it really fast, you can do some faster adjustments on it, but you got to be really careful because once that beam starts, that's just where you're going to be. You can only bring it down or around so much. But that can be part of it. Like if you're doing hard spins or if you're doing hard tracking, you can get ahead of your target and bring it back around. Also keep in mind that you can also just kind of hold the shot before it actually gets fully charged and have it ready to just let loose instead of having to push it. Little things like that can help for your reaction time. So the other big thing to keep in mind for this suit is that this bitch has like 500 range for this rifle. You can actually hit from downtown a good ways. Like it's making contact with that hill from here in some cases. The further end right there, it's not. You inch up a little bit, you're probably going to still clap it. So you can pretty much hit from across mid with this thing. Try to clothesline a couple people with the Groby. You can probably do it from even up here if you really wanted to. In fact, we're gonna see if it makes contact. This will be like our last kind of point about this. And obviously, if you crouch down, you get a little bit more output. Not only because of just the plus attack here, but because of that chilling. Yeah, so you can hit from there. I'm assuming. So contact here, contact there. Obviously, it's not gonna go all the way across this. But you can still probably reach past that, this little, like, ridge here. That's the actual charge itself. In fact, I wonder if the charge... No, I would assume it would probably be the same. It would make sense if the charge was shorter. It wouldn't make sense, but if, you know, compared to anything else that's ever happened in this fucking game, right? But, you know, for now, assume that it still just has the same general kind of reach. Let me see. Maybe around here? No. But, in general, that's kind of the long and short of this. I'm a little bit on the fence about this. I really like the gun. I feel like I like this kind of firing mode on it. The secondary firing mode could be a lot better. I'm a little bit bummed out that it doesn't have balancer, just because it should be a little bit more versatile to defend itself by being able to like just immediately land and cancel into like a tackle, or maybe getting into its shots a little bit faster without having to fully land. But as it stands, as long as you can really just bait your situations and keep a good distance for that rifle before moving into pursue and hit with all this shit, which, you know, not super necessary as long as you can manage your heat. It can do some work. I'm a little bit more curious to see how well this is gonna do in a situation where there's not a bunch of people running it all the fucking time. And as I said, we do have 2 matches for these. I am going to keep them separate from this video just because I don't want this going even longer than we normally do, because that'll be pushing probably almost an hour with 2 matches thrown on in there in the same time. So this is it for the discussion section. Be sure to tune in for the next premiere, and then the other video we'll probably have linked in here for the fights with both versions of the machinery. I'll see you guys over there.